Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Hello and welcome to Road to Recovery, advocacy and insights for trucking accidents with Sagi Shaked. I'm your host, Kevin Rosenquist. Thanks for being here. Sagi is founder of Shaked Law Personal Injury Lawyers and is ranked as one of the top 100 trial lawyers in the United States by the American Trial Lawyers Association. With a wealth of experience in personal injury, wrongful death, and complex litigation cases, he passionately advocates for victims and has recovered multi-million-dollar settlements in damages for his clients. Sagi, great to see you again.
Great seeing you again. Look forward to this episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk insurance companies today, probably your favorite topic. How do insurance companies approach claims related to trucking accidents compared to regular vehicle accidents?
Yeah, so insurance companies are extremely aggressive when they work for the trucking industry. And why do I mean that? They're trying to limit their liability. So you'll see in a truck accident case, it's a lot different. Like, let's look at a car accident. Car accident happens. You really don't see, if it's State Farm, Allstate, or any one of these insurance companies, you don't see their representatives coming to the scene immediately. In a truck wreck case, the first phone call that the driver makes is to risk management for the trucking company. And they immediately get out their team of experts, accident reconstruction experts, investigators. There's always an insurance person there. There's a team out there to minimize the damage. Why? They want to minimize the amount of money that they pay. So they have teams in place all across the country, especially these big trucking companies and insurance companies that deal with trucking companies. They have teams in place to help them save money, to minimize the amount of money that they pay. That's why you really need to get a lawyer that knows what they're doing, has handled these cases before, that's not 5, 10 years or 15 years out, that's been out for a while, who can come in there and really help you and had experience dealing with these types of cases and can get you the results you need.
What should accident victims know about the different types of insurance coverage that's involved in trucking accidents?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things you need to know. The first thing that's important is most truck accident cases, why do I say they're different? They're required under federal law, if they're doing interstate travel, that's travel between different states, to carry minimum insurance. Whereas you can have cars in Florida, for example, that have no insurance, no bodily injury coverage. So trucks are required to have bodily injury coverage when they get on the road, and that coverage is a minimum of $750,000. Now, we'll see a lot of them have more than $750,000. They'll have $1 million. And then it really depends on the company that causes the crash. We've had trucking companies that have had hundreds of millions of dollars in insurance coverage. And depending on the case, some cases require hundreds of millions of dollars, and some cases don't require that. It just depends on the injuries. So that's one of the differentiating items, that cars sometimes don't have insurance, trucks do. So what do you need to look for when you're looking for insurance? So number one, the at-fault party, do they have bodily injury coverage? That'll cover you for your bodily injuries when you're in a crash. The other thing you need to look for in your own policy is if you have uninsured motorist coverage. What does that mean? So if you're involved in a crash with a person who doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough insurance, you can go after your own insurance company for that person's negligence. And you can make a recovery for your own pain, suffering, mental anguish, aggravation of a pre-existing condition, and all your other types of damages. So very important to have uninsured motorists. So those are the two main things that I would look for when you're talking about injuries. Is there bodily injury coverage on the truck, and how much? And do you have uninsured motorist coverage? Because if you don't, I would strongly recommend that you get it before you even get on the road again. Like literally go out, call your agent, go online and get it like right now. Get it. Don't take a chance. There's too many horrible stories that we've heard where people don't have insurance coverage and they cause a serious wreck and bad injuries, and the victim has nowhere to go to in terms of a recovery, and now they've lost their job, they can't feed their family, and they're suffering all this pain, and they need money, and the only way to get money is if you had uninsured motorist coverage. So that's important to get. So definitely look for bodily injury coverage and uninsured motorist coverage.
Yeah, we've talked about the uninsured on this show before, and you made me make sure I have it, and I have it. So I'm covered, just so you know.
Yeah, extremely important to get. I would definitely.
Yeah, well, the more I talk to you, the more I realize that. So yeah, no, I'm on
Hopefully,
it.
you got it at this point, right?
Yeah, for sure. If I don't, I don't know what's wrong with me. So if someone's in an accident with a trucking company, should they call the trucking company's insurance company, or would you advise them to let you do that?
So I would say if a person's involved and they had a collision with a trucking company, do not call the trucking company yourself. Get a lawyer. Call my office. We'll gladly help you and walk you through this maze that they're going to put you through, because it is difficult to deal with them. And they're trying to do everything possible to set you up. They're not there to help. They're there to help their pockets. So they're going to try to minimize everything. And you'll see they're very aggressive when they deal with unrepresented people. And when I mean unrepresented, people who are not represented by a lawyer, they want to get out there as fast as possible, offer them some money, whatever that money is, and get the case settled for peanuts. That's what they want to do. It's their goal. And so I would strongly suggest get a lawyer, call our office. We're here to help, because navigating this maze is difficult. And we do it, and they still, give us problems with it, but we know how to deal with them. So I can only imagine what a person who is representing themselves, which I think is a foolish thing to do, if you're trying to get your fair and just compensation for what they did to you.
What are the common tactics that the insurance companies will use to minimize the payouts, as you were talking about?
So, a common tactic is the adjusters will call, try to settle immediately, right away, offer you a couple of $1,000s, or try to minimize and tell you that the case isn't worth that much. And there you go. Now you're settling a case for peanuts when you really shouldn't have. So that's one tactic. Another tactic that they'll do is they make you go through the rigmaroles of, we need more documents. And really they don't. They should be paying on the claim, but they drive the clients, the unrepresented clients, crazy in terms of the amount of paperwork that people have to fill out. They don't know what they need to fill out. And this is really frustrating for the clients. I know, because I hear it when they come to my office. I can't deal with this anymore. Please help us. We don't know what to do anymore, because they're just pounding them with paperwork that sometimes the clients don't even need to complete, and they're not required under any type of law to complete it. But the trucking companies will make you, or the insurance companies for the trucking companies will make the unrepresented people believe that they're really required to complete it. So be careful what you complete. Don't just sign stuff to sign stuff. And don't think the trucking companies or insurance companies are your friends. They're trying to maximize their money so they can represent their shareholders and make more money that way. So you really need to get a lawyer that knows what they're doing, and we're here to help you if you need one.
We've talked about this before, but let's revisit this just for anyone new who might be listening. What are the specific details someone should note about at the accident scene? What kind of documentation is crucial for these cases?
So the crucial things when you're in a crash, if you're able to, because some people are not able to, they're transferred to the hospital. But I would say crucial evidence would be photographs, videos of the scene. If you can't get them, maybe if a family member comes to the scene, get those videos, get those photographs. There's gouge marks in the roadway. There's brake marks in the roadway. There's potentially witnesses. You want to get the witness statements, or at least get their phone numbers so the investigators and the lawyers can talk to those witnesses. Because people's minds, they get distorted after a while, and they forget what they saw, or they don't remember as clearly. So the earlier you can get to a witness, the better. Have them tell you, just tell me the truth. Tell me what really happened. And then you record it with their permission. Of course, every state is different, but in Florida, you need permission if you're going to record someone, and you get their permission, you record them, and then you have a better understanding of what happened. So I would say three most important thing is let's get the witness statements, or at least their contact info, videos, and photographs. So we can at least know how the scene looked at the time, if that's possible. A lot of times in our cases, it's not, and we don't get the call right away. We get the call a couple of days later, or a week later, or 2 weeks later, or even later than that. So we try our best to get as much information as we can, but hopefully the client has pictures, videos, and at least the phone number of the witness so we can contact the witness or witnesses.
With considering the fact that there's multiple parties involved in these trucking cases, you've got the driver, the trucking company, maybe other entities. How does liability change? How do the liability issues differ in these cases?
Yeah, so it really depends how the truck crash occurred, right? So like you said, there's the driver that could be at fault. The trucking company could be at fault. There's the maintenance company. If they took care of a truck, I think we spoke about it in the past where we had a truck driver who was driving and one of their wheels flew off. So you got the maintenance company. Potentially you got the broker. So the broker would work like this. The broker, you call a broker, manufacturer would call a broker and say, hey, I need a shipment sent to this location. The broker would find a motor carrier, which is a trucking company, to come and pick up the shipment and deliver it. Now, the broker doesn't just to get paid, the broker has a duty, and that duty is to ensure that they're hiring motor carriers that are safe. So there is a site, it's under the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration site, and it's called SaferSys, and that gives the general public an opportunity to look and see how safe this trucking company is. So nobody really does that before you get on the road. Do you even know who you're going to come and drive next to? So it's not fair to put that onus on the average driver, but it is fair to put that onus on the trucking company and the brokers. If the broker is trying to find the cheapest trucking company out there, well, you better believe they're going to be on the hook if that trucking company causes serious harm or wrongfully kills someone. That broker is going to be on the hook, because if it wasn't for them, that trucking company wouldn't be on the roadway. So the broker could be at fault, potentially the shipper, potentially the loader, whoever loads that shipment in. We just had a case today where the back part of the trailer fishtailed and went into the other lane of travel, causing a crash. And that one, we're looking at the shipper and whoever loaded that truck, because they obviously didn't load it properly, because that shouldn't be happening when truck drivers are driving on the roadway. So there's many different parties to look at when you're looking at who's at fault for causing a truck wreck.
Just out of curiosity, was it because it was packed like unevenly or something and it caused the weight distribution type thing?
Correct. Yeah. When they're not packing it right, then you need to get an expert involved in that too. Those things should not happen. So a truck driving straight should not be fishtailing if everything's going okay.
Yeah, if the roads are safe and all that. Yeah, for sure. What are some of the most common mistakes that you see that victims make when dealing with insurance companies after a truck accident?
So the most common mistake I see is people trying to deal with the insurance companies on their own. That's a huge no-no. That I would say they're going to take advantage of you. It's sort of like going into a fight with a bully that's 10 times your size. You really have no shot, because they have lawyers. Their lawyers know what they're doing and they're skilled. So it's your job, if you're injured, to go to someone who is board certified, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who's been in the trenches, who can guide you and lead you down that forest to the promised land, which would be fair and just compensation for what happened. So some of the pitfalls, that would be pitfall number one, is trying to do it on your own. Big mistake. Even if you're a lawyer, if you don't handle trucking cases, do not do these on your own, because they are different. You have to really know the inside and out of those federal regulations. And on our next episodes, we're going to talk about the different federal regulations that apply to the driver and the motor carrier. That's a whole talk on of its own that I've done for trial lawyer organizations that specifically focus on trucking accidents. So when we talk about things you shouldn't do, number one, don't represent yourself. Number two, don't represent yourself. And number three, don't represent yourself. But if you're going to represent yourself, get fully versed on the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. Those are federal laws that you really need to know, and you need to know them cold, because they do play games. And I'll just give you an example. Insurance companies will tell you, or the trucking companies will tell you, that's not our driver. He was just leasing the truck, or he's an independent truck driver. Well, it doesn't really work that way. The Code of Federal Regulations, which are those Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, they talk about there is no such thing as an independent contractor. So there's case law dealing with that issue. But if you didn't know the Code of Federal Regulations, you're relying on what the insurance company tells you. And you have to live with that, because the trucking company is going to have a lease in place that we lease this truck to Joe, the driver. And so he's not our employee. They try to get off the hook. Therefore, we don't have to pay anything because we lease the vehicle. And they have this nice fancy document, but that doesn't mean anything. If the law says you can't do it, doesn't mean you can write a lease document and get around the law. It doesn't work that way. So there's so many pitfalls that I would say go to someone who really knows what they're doing, who understands the regulations, who's taught on the regulations, to other lawyers so you don't fall victim and not get fair compensation. So the main takeaway is don't represent yourself. Let a lawyer who knows what they're doing.
And don't represent yourself.
Yeah, and don't represent yourself and don't represent yourself. Exactly.
Yeah. That seems like the theme for sure. It makes a lot of sense. Have you noticed any recent trends or changes in how insurance companies handle these trucking accident claims?
Yeah, so there's been two trends that I've noticed. Insurance companies are lately lowballing people on their settlements. And I'm getting a lot of attorneys sending us cases and wanting us to work with them, and we do. But the lowball offers seem to be why we're getting more of those cases. And then the other trend you're seeing is the insurance companies getting hammered for those lowball offers. There's verdicts across the country, especially here in Florida, but all across the country, that are higher than ever. And the reason they're higher than ever is people are tired. They're tired of trucking companies not doing what they're supposed to do, putting truck drivers that shouldn't be driving on the roadway. They're tired of drivers just in general being negligent. So you're seeing verdicts that are higher than they should be, or maybe they're the right verdicts, the right verdict amounts. And that's probably what the insurance companies should be paying, but they don't. And that's why we have juries and we have this amazing system that there's no other system like it in the entire world. Our system has been around longer than any other system. I mean, you have countries who continuously change their constitution all day long. And here we are. We have the same constitution and expanding on it, but people have a right to trial by jury or trial by their peers. And if the insurance company wants to put you in trial, you want to be with a lawyer who knows what they're doing and can get you fair compensation for your injuries. We're here to help. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We've tried cases. We've settled cases in excess of 9 figures. That's over $100 million. So it's up to you. If you have one of these claims, you need someone who knows what they're doing, not just any lawyer.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in to Road to Recovery, Advocacy and Insights for Trucking Accidents with Sagi Shaked. If you would like to connect with Sagi, if you've got a question about a trucking accident, feel free to reach out. You can go to shakedlaw.com. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Sagi, as always, great to see you. Thanks for the info and looking forward to the next one.
Hey, thanks for doing this episode.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.